Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do some Wainwrights in the Central Fells. So we'll do the walk up to Easedale Tarn and then Tarn Crag over to where I am now, which is Sargeant Man. Then we'll work our way down to Blea Rigg. Right, let's check it out on the map. On this walk we'll explore 3 Wainwrights, 2 waterfalls and a tarn. We start at the parking spot just outside of Grasmere and head into the village, turning right onto Easedale Road. This will take us through a wood and over farmland before we start to ascend the fell up to Sour Milk Ghyll Falls. The ascent shallows as we carry on the track to Easedale Tarn. We work our way up the fell and get to our first Wainwright of the day, which is Tarn Crag. And after admiring the views, we continue on our ascent up to Sargeant Man. Once summited, we get a glimpse over the Langdale Valley before heading down, and we start to work our way along the ridge to Blea Rigg, which is our third Wainwright of the day. Then it's the home stretch as we start to descend into the valley and back to Grasmere. This section is relatively easy. This is a fantastic walk all the way around with some great views. Once on the flat, and get into the village for some refreshments. Starting off in this siding just outside of Grasmere. This siding is free parking for about 30 cars, so it's very popular. We're going to walk down into Grasmere, which is just a short distance. As we walk down here, there's a few sheep. Hello, how are you doing today? Stop munching, very curious sheep. There's quite a few round in this field. And just over in the distance there you can see Helm Crag. And I've got a couple of videos on that. That is a great walk in the area. Anyway, we'll leave you to your breakfast. This siding does fill up pretty quickly. I'll say it's just past 9 o'clock in the morning now and it's already full. We'll work our way down. This is the Swan Hotel just here, and we're going down via the burial ground. As we get into the village, this is the burial ground. Because the church in Grasmere predates the one in Ambleside, in past times you had to bring bodies over from Ambleside to here, and that's why it's got such a big burial ground, plus the one in the main church. But it's a little bit Christmassy with this holly tree in the middle, and as I've been coming over, Ambleside's got all its Christmas lights up. So we'll go from here and get into the main village. As we come into the village, we go over the River Rothay, and this is it just to our side. Absolutely picturesque. There are amenities here if you're starting off, so you can get some provisions before you go. There's also a pharmacy here and a co-op. So there they are. It is Sunday morning, but the co-op is open as usual. And if you're trying to get ready for the mountain, there are some facilities around. So just on the other side of the green, you see the sign here for the loos, and they are just there. Right, but for us, we're going to start off on Easedale Road and we'll work our way up to Easedale Tarn. There we go then. If you've been on the channel before, you'll recognise this start because I've done this before. We're going to go up to Easedale Tarn, past the waterfalls, and then work our way around to Helm Crag. So that's a good walk in the area, and I'll put that in the description should you wish to see it. I've got a couple of small signs as we walk up, so you can see here Easedale Tarn, 2 miles. It's this road section for about half a mile or so, and then we're onto the fells. Directly ahead of us you can see Helm Crag. Got the Lion and the Lamb just on the top, and it's called the Lion and the Lamb because of the shape of the rock formations on the top, which represent a large lion when you look at it from the pub, and then a lamb just at its feet. There we go, Grasmere, half a mile. So we're on our way. This walk today, the route description and map and everything is in the description for this video. It's just underneath, so you can always get that, and I make the video walks on OS Maps, so if you download that to your phone, you've got it. Still a few sheep knocking around, getting ready for winter. There we go, Easedale Tarn. Other back to get across, and just through here. After we've turned off the road and into this little wood, we'll quickly on the other side, and the beck's running just at the side of us here. Just head through, and it is a sheepy area, so yeah, dogs do need to be on a lead around here. It is the middle of autumn now, and it's a good one to do with the shorter days. It doesn't take too long to do. I'll put the full timings in a little bit later on into the video. And we're going to see waterfalls as we walk up here. And then there's a little plunge pool at the top. So if you're into wild swimming or wild dipping, you can go in there. I'm not sure that's a thing for me for mid-autumn, maybe summer. So that is something I might do a bit more of next year. Then a bit further on, we're at Easedale Tarn. And then once we've completed that, we've got a couple of options. You can go onto Tarn Crag, which is a Wainwright, or it's possible just to go over round to Blea Rigg at that point. The cloud base today is supposed to be at 500 metres, and where we're going to, the height of the walk is about 550. But the reality is this, there's no cloud base at all. Or if there is, it's at a couple of thousand feet because it's nowhere near. So I think we got a bit lucky today, and if that keeps up, we'll get all the way around this with absolutely no clag whatsoever. So sometimes worth the risk. And that's just heading forward. You can see it's a really easy track. This is a nice gentle start because for the first mile or so we're just on a track, then we'll start to head up. You maybe pick out the waterfall a little bit at this point, it's just ahead of me up here. We're not going to be using that today, but I have done on other walks. We'll carry on straight up and you'll be able to see Sour Milk Ghyll just in front. Struggle with the one-handed gate action. There we go. Oh, that's missed. Try again. So fancy this one, go down a little tree line section. This is Easedale Beck, just at the side here. And the last time I came up here, it was autumn again. So it was probably October time, so a few weeks before this. So remember there being more leaves on the trees. Oh, a red squirrel. Can you see it? Wow. Oh my God. A red squirrel. Unbelievable. That is the first time I have seen a red squirrel in the Lake District. There, just up there. Let's try and get a bit closer. Wow. Absolutely unbelievable. There we go. The native red squirrel. Unbelievable. Wow. That's made my walk for today. I've never seen a red squirrel in the Lake District after coming here for pretty much 45 years. That's made my walk. I might just go back now, and that's the end of the video. Thanks very much. The red squirrel is our native squirrel in England, and they are quite rare. The American grey squirrel is much more sort of bulky and much more aggressive really, so that is taking all the food away from the red squirrels. So in this area there are a lot of red squirrel conservation efforts going on to make sure they're maintained, and there's some special boxes which are too sensitive for the grey squirrels because they're too heavy and they can't get to the food, but the red squirrels being a bit lighter can't access it. That's keeping them going. But yeah, special treat there for us. Squirrel knocking. Although the leaves are gone, we are left with the hips on there for winter, and also the berries have started to emerge for winter. We're coming towards the farm at this end, and I've been through here before where there were quite a few cows, which are not my favourite up close, but other times I've been through it's completely clear. So we're nowhere near calving season or anything like that, so that really limits the risk. As you can see, the path is very, very well maintained, which gives you some idea how popular this route is. So let's get through here. That's better. Then on we go. There's two tracks at this point, but we're taking the one to the left. There we go. So Easedale Tarn, 1 mile from this point. Let's try and get across this. A little bit wet around today. It has been raining recently, but this is the first good day of the week really, because it's been a storm this week and it's been like really high winds, so also low cloud all week. But you know, take chances, and today is going to be a great one for us. First day I put my sort of winter jacket on. So this is a down jacket and it's got good thermal properties. In fact, I think too good, because I'm actually quite warm and I've only just left the flat. So I might take it off in a minute, but I have this with me. I have my top layer, which is my raincoat, in my bag. So I always carry at least those 3 layers with the base layer. This is a merino wool base layer that I've got as well. So I can change between anything too hot going up or cold coming down. I know I've got the stuff in the bag to keep me the right temperature. As we start the ascent, we're right next to Sour Milk Ghyll Falls, so they're just here for us, and they're looking mightily impressive today. We do go right up to them on this path, so we can get a close-up look in a minute. But another gate for now. Squeeze through that one. There we go. This is a popular walk in the summer months, but around the Lake District it's a bit more quiet towards autumn and winter time. You can see it's a really stable path behind me. It's a great conservation path all the way up. So if you want to just do the 2 miles to the Tarn, have your sandwiches there, then head back, that is an option. And if you're feeling brave, you can have a wild swim there or have a dip in the pools up here. And last time I came up, it was October, but there were a couple having a bit of a dip at the top. We wander by the side of this wall, and as I say, the falls are just there, so visually stunning, and you can hear them crashing down, so difficult to get lost. From Grasmere to Easedale Tarn, you're going to gain height at 200 metres, so the first bit is quite gradual. This more stiffer up is around about 150 metres, then it'll start to level off. So you'll notice this bit, but after this, it's gentle again as we get towards the Tarn. Almost scrambly up here, but it's one of those things, isn't it? Without any steepness, you wouldn't have a waterfall. As you can see, although it's wet, you can actually stay on top of the rocks. Nice little crossing here. And we can look back, that's what we've done so far, through to the woods in the distance. This is Sour Milk Ghyll Falls, just at our side, and this path comes to touch it just in a few more yards. The path goes straight up, but it's a little route down here. It'd be rude not to visit the falls while we're here. Oh, Robin, for Christmas, hello. Got a bit of a wildlife count going for today. These falls are the first draw on this walk. Absolutely brilliant. Crashing down. This pool is big enough for wild swimming, and last time I came here someone was doing that, and then they worked their way down into the valley where we've come from. So that is Again, another fantastic feature of this walk, really creates a lot of interest. So if you are out on a short one or want to try a walk for one of your first times, then this is a really good one, because you go to Easedale Tarn, see how you feel there, seeing the waterfalls anyway, you might get lucky and see a red squirrel, and then decide what you want to do, because then come back and past Easedale Tarn on this walk, it'll get a lot quieter. Not that it's not quiet now, but it'll get a lot quieter, because that'll be the stopping point for a lot of people today. Remember, all the time when you're walking, it's not a race, so the main point was to catch amazing views like that. Absolutely stunning. So looking back, you've got Nabscar, and then over towards the back, we've got Blea Rigg. And beyond that is Ambleside. As we continue on, as I look back down the valley, and there's a second set of waterfalls just here, and they keep going all the way to Easedale Tarn. At the Tarn, we'll probably meet walkers that have been coming the other way around from Tarn Crag, and that is a shorter loop, so you just see some people here. That is the path over to Tarn Crag, and the Tarn is just above here. The walk I'm doing today, it is relatively straightforward, I would say anyway, but if you do any of my walks, then you'll find the map in the description. Just download that first to OS Maps. And the difference between OS Maps and All Trails is All Trails shows loads of paths, well, loads of tracks. The OS Maps shows the official tracks, so that'll lead you to probably better paths. But I tend to use both, so it's up to you. You can go on those on your phone, have a little play around and see which one you prefer. If you're new to walking, then it's not the same as kind of walking around a town. When you're walking up something that's a bit more of an incline, the aim is to put your feet down basically underneath your shoulders, so that'll save a lot of muscle strain. And again, if you're going up really steep or down steep, you can walk in zigzags. And firstly, it keeps you more stable, and secondly, it gets rid of any massive exertion out your muscles, because you want to be saving that. As we're coming up, we just get to Easedale Tarn. You can see the bowl shape is going to appear in a sec, and there it is for us. This is Tarn Crag, just above it, and it's one of those ones, it's a Wainwright, but the highest point of it is not the Wainwright Summit. The Wainwright Summit is slightly off, so I'm going to point that out to you, because I wasn't going to go up there, but because the tops are cleared, I am. There's a bit of water action going on. A couple of people are there with canoes, and then a couple of brave people going for a wild swim, tentatively getting in the water. So from here, we're going to take the ridge across the top. We'll work our way up here and then onto the tops. A couple of swimmers in there today, absolute madness. So we just got across Sour Milk Ghyll, and this is what we saw as the waterfalls further down. So it'll work its way down into the valley over there. The crossing's reasonably straightforward. I'm saying that now, but if I get my boots wet, it isn't. Whoa! It is, yeah. We'll skirt around the edge of the tarn, then we'll start to work our way up. But the path is fairly visible as you go around. We're leaving the tarn behind, working our way up. The ascent up to Tarn Crag is another 250 metres, so noticeable, but we'll pretty much have to do that height anyway to get up to Blea Rigg, so may as well do this, get some more views in. So looking back, here's the Tarn, and we worked our way round and to here, and we're just cracking on up here. Whilst I'm thinking about this, I did a video last week about some things you might need to know if you want to get into walking. So that's actually launching today. So we'll see how that goes down. So again, if there's anything in that video that you think could have added in, then feel free to contribute to it. But one thing I forgot to say on there, or didn't say, is I always switch my phone onto low power mode when I'm doing walks. So that conserves the battery. It means I probably won't need my power bank, but I do carry a power bank just in case, especially if I'm using my phone to help with navigation. And I would say the majority of people I see around these days are navigating with a phone. At this stage, the Tarn is very much beneath us, and Tarn Crag clearly gets its name from the fact the Tarn's below it. And in Wainwright's books, he says the only tarn that's named after a fell is Blea Rigg Tarn, which is a fantastic walk, and you can go up Blea Rigg on that one too. So if you want to have a look at that, I've done it. I'll put a link in the description, and the map and everything's in there for you. So as we continue to build this hiking resource, so you can make hopefully good use of it, then we'll head up and get these. That is looking steep at this stage. Once we've done it though, that's our significant up for the day. Shivering in two minds about whether to go out or not, and I sometimes am. Whenever I do, I don't really regret it, because look at that, absolutely fantastic. Wow, what a great backdrop for us. So we're continuing up this steep ascent, and as I say, you'd have to come up this high anyway if you wanted to do Blea Rigg. Getting some elevation coming up here. One of the advantages really of autumn, the sun's quite low in the sky, so you get views like this. Fantastic. And then we're over here towards the Fairfield Horseshoe in the background, and then you've got the green burn round working its way over to Helm Crag. And again, I've got videos. I feel like I've always only got videos on places, but there are quite a few in the archives now. But I've definitely got the green burn round and Fairfield Horseshoes in there. Behind it also you'll see Helvellyn, and you can go up Stride and Edgeway, which I've shown before, or up the back, up Dollywagon, and that is, and again, really good route, but no danger on that route at all. So if you want to see an alternative, that's a great one. Cracking views all day, and that's why we're coming up here. It's a little bit squelchy going around, but nothing that's troubling my boots so far. I've got my dry socks on today as well, so they're keeping my feet dry if my boots get breached. There's a craggy top then. Lovely, that's why it is Tarn Crag. See the cragginess of it. So we've worked our way up from the Tarn on this path, and absolutely stunning views going forward, and we can tick off our first Wainwright of the day. I've only passed one pair of people so far, so as very much suspected, it's quiet today. This is our last few yards as we head up. So we're coming up to the true summit and the Wainwright summit. And if you're wondering what's the difference, well, Wainwright summits often have a better view, but often they are also the true top. Right, so here we are. Just going to complete, this is us out the top. And there we go. Ah, absolutely brilliant. So we are just going to work our way over here now to Blea Rigg and then work our way back down to the village. But what a view this is from the top. Absolutely brilliant. Just bumped into a couple of subscribers here, so that is Colin and his missus. So they are doing the Wainwrights for the first time, moved here about a year ago. So glad they're finding some use out of the videos, because that's why I'm doing them. From the top, we're going to head straight forward along the rest of the ridge. As we're going forward on this one, we can just get a little look over to the Langdale Valley, and you can see Harrison Stickle over there and Pavey Ark. So that's a great little run round. Langdale Valley is probably my favourite valley in the Lake District. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you want to see any of those, then I've got them in the folders for the Central Fells. So we're just trekking our way along a little bit on this ridge. Because the bottom is quite soggy, and we were going to go down to the tarn at the bottom, I've changed my mind because it's a bit too wet underfoot, so I'm going to keep it at height. I'm going to go up to Sargeant Man, then hook around. And it's really close by anyway, so might as well just get it while we're here. So if you want to pick up another Wainwright, that's another one for us. Got about 100 metres to go up, so I'm going to stop and have a bit of a sandwich. This will be our highest point for today because we've changed our minds on what we're doing. So I'd like to have a look at this view while we have a quick sandwich. Because the cloud base is so high today, unlike the forecast, it's a good one for us to do Sargeant Man. So I'm going to climb up there. That'll be our new highest point for today, given that it's an add-in, but it's so close to this route that it's really worth it. And the bottom down there is quite squelchy, so this is to keep my boots dry and you get an extra Wainwright as well. So it's bargain. About 100 metres to go and we'll be there. Wow, as we're around 700 metres now. A little bit of ice knocking about. So definitely getting those winter conditions coming to us. As we come up, you can pick up this sort of fence post line. Let's get to the top. Oh, wow, we're nearly there. Oh, look at that view. Down to Windermere over there. Fantastic. Wow. Well, what a treat this was. So I'll say a little unexpected to add this in, but I do have an extra bottle of water, an extra little packet of sweets, and my head torch, just in case. So all that's going to come into play today. The down and up, and the top is just over there. So again, we're really sticking with the fence line, and that'll take us pretty much to the top. So there's another of our fence markers. Wow, and it is a bit wet, but there's also plenty of stones around for us. Look over that, the striation patterns on that. What this route is going to give us is a fantastic view over Langdale Valley. So again, it picks up with Wainwright, but the view's going forward now, absolutely incredible. So there is your run going forward with the light capturing absolutely everything. Brilliant. I'll get you a better shot of it when we get to the top, which is just here. A lot of people get put off in coming out in autumn because they think, oh, it's too cold. And it really is just about what clothing you're wearing. So on the video I did last week, I explained a bit about layering. So I've got my sort of under layer, base layer, and then I've got my mid layer on right now. If anything, I'm too hot. But I was debating this morning which mid layer to put on, and I probably should have gone with my sort of slightly fleecy, slightly waterproof one. But this is a really good one for the winter time. So when it was going to be about 0 on the tops, this is definitely what I'd be wearing. Wow, look at that. That's your view out. Absolutely incredible. We'll work our way up the path here. You can just see it going up. Nice and dry. This is getting to the summit. Absolutely brilliant. Wow. It's not particularly marked with a cairn, but nevertheless, this is it. Wow, the views around are absolutely brilliant. The wind is a bit higher than forecast for today, which should be 10 miles an hour. Feels more like 20 up here, but what a brilliant run. So over there you've got Weatherlam and Swirl Howe, so all the way down to the southern fells. Then a lot nearer we've got Bowfell and Crinkle Crags, which are accessible from Langdale Valley. Absolutely brilliant. So we'll work our way off towards Blea Rigg, and that's going to be about 250 metres below this, so the wind will start to drop off a little bit. There is ice at this level at this time of year, and it's on all the tarns, so it's me going to be putting my microspikes in the bag next time I come up, because it'll just get progressively more frosty on the tops. And I have got a light with me today, my head torch, and I always carry that in the bag, so I've got about 3 hours of light left, and if I don't get down in time, which I really should do, then I can get out the torch. The one I use is it's rechargeable, and I've got a battery pack with me as well, so I always have that because in case I need to recharge my phone or any of the electronics when I'm going around. So anyway, we'll head forward and work our way down, and we can just see Windermere in the distance, and we've got low level sunlight just striking the fells in the distance. Majestic. Got an incredible view down this side to Stickle Tarn, and then Pavey Ark right next to it. And just passing this, and it reminds me of the Great Slab on Bowfell. Look at that. Bowfell itself not too far away at all from here. So work our way through here, and then we'll get on our path towards Blea Rigg. Little cairn marker to tell us we're going the right way. Mark out the path. So it's very much a descent, and from Sargeant Man down to Blea Rigg. The drop is around about 250 metres. Oh, it's a bit squelchy. Yeah, you can see this is why I didn't go on the lower path. I'd originally planned to just skirt the lower tarn and then work my way up, but it's just too boggy. It's like this all the way, so I actually went over to Sargeant Man and picked that up. just to keep the high ground really. This mic that I've got, by the way, it comes in a pack of 2 mics with a receiver, but although the mics do tend to last about, I'd say 8 hours, the receiver only lasts about, don't know, sometimes 4. So I bring a little recharger with me, and I just recharged it now because it does last longer in the summer than the winter, because as it gets colder, that'll sap your batteries more. And the reason I'm telling you this really is because if you're bringing your phone out and you're relying on that for navigation, then it'll get drained more quickly in cold conditions. So if you can make sure you've got a battery charger with you, then that makes sure you can keep topped up. Because you know, the worst case scenario is you're on a mountain somewhere out in the sticks where people aren't around, and you rely on your phone and it packs in. But you can resolve it really by having a backup battery pack, so you can give it a little charge. Anyway, just thought I'd mention it. So this bit coming down, it is quite rocky heading across, which is good for us really, because we're looking for the rocks to keep us dry. It is a little bit streamy, as you can see, but we can keep on top of that. So there's the cairn, and again we're heading forward, and we can see the cairn mark in the distance we're heading for. This is our wander as we go forward, and Easedale Tarn is down here, so this is where we've been so far. Worked our way across the tops, up to Sargeant Man behind there, and then back over here. So we're going to work our way very much towards the village now, with Windermere in the distance. Gives you a good indicator of where you should be going. But essentially, just keep Easedale Tarn to your left, and you're tracking gently down the fell. There are a few ways to do these Wainwrights. When I did Sargeant Man last time, I did it's a much bigger loop. But if you've done this in various forms or any of these Wainwrights, then if you just pop it in the comments and let me know how you did it and who you did it with, because that'll give other people an idea about what the routes they could take around the area, and then they can sort of contribute in that way. And that all really just helps people to get an idea about what they could be doing around the fells, because they'll say this is just one variation that I'm doing today. But look at that to the side, absolutely brilliant. That's us heading forward with the cairns to tell us one right path. So the path sort of faded away, but yeah, the cairn's there to tell you that you're going the right direction, and it goes grassy at this stage, but I can just pick it out there going forward. I was just blissfully wandering down here, so I was like, whoa. This is Paviark on this side, and I think you won't be able to make it out from here, but going up that cliff face is Jack's Rake, which is a notorious grade 1 scramble, which I've done with Alison sort of about 6 months ago or so. You'll know this if you watch the channel, because I keep going on about it, but in the Wainwright books there are 6 exciting situations which he mentions at the back of the final book, which is the Western Fells book, and he doesn't name it in any of those 6 because he says Jack's Rake is not for the walkers really, it's more of a climber's route, so it's a bit too extreme, and I would agree with that. It's not for walkers really, but if you've got some climbing experience and you fancy a challenge, check out the video on that, because that is something I probably won't repeat, but it was really hairy going up, and Alison came up with me, and she's you know, not too experienced in that kind of environment, but she made it up. But I was really concerned going up on that, because I thought I'd probably pushed her a little bit too far, but she came out like an absolute champ, did it. Wainwright says it's only for men with hair on their chest, which is definitely not Alison, but hats off to her, she did brilliantly on that. But for today, just heading our way through here. This is one you could do as a dog walk, and it's definitely an accessible one because there aren't really any cliffs to fall off on this, but there is on Jack's rake, so definitely don't take your dog up there. At this point it's quite squelchy on the top, so put a bit of higher ground to make sure it keeps yourself dry. I've got my dry socks on today, as I mentioned, and they're specially designed to, well, it says waterproof on them, but I don't think they're waterproof, but they do keep the water away from your feet because they're synthetic, so not like a cotton or anything which will hold the water against your foot and make your feet cold. Anyway, we'll continue to pick our way through and we'll soon be over to Blea Rigg. Look at that, little peaty formation there. So just heading towards these peaks over here. Oh, hello. The helicopter's arrived. It's just coming over the Langdale Valley there. So probably a tourist helicopter rather than mountain rescue. Just head over here. Got to give us a lift, mate. Although winter has more adverse conditions, you're more likely to get mountain rescue call-outs actually in the summer, because that's when people are trying the fells for the first time and might not be equipped properly. And I would always say, you know, poke around the internet, find some advice on stuff before you go, check out the route, and then that'll help you to make some decisions about what you're doing. On these routes, I really try and not to sugarcoat it and show you what the route's actually like. So hopefully you get a good idea from the videos. But yeah, this is us going forward. A little bit of marbly type stuff in the rock. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Although one of the main industries is tourism these days for Lake District, and rightly so, and also farming. Before that, it was also minerals, so it's very rich for minerals, and so copper deposits around towards the old Manor Coniston, and you've also got slate being mined in the area, so, and a couple of gold mines. It's mineral rich, but nowadays most of those are closed down. There's only actually Honister slate mine, which is the last working slate mine in Britain. But yeah, you can go and see that and still visit it and still see the activity taking place. Blea Rigg is just ahead of us, and again Easedale Tarn just below. There's the fells in the distance out towards Seat Sandal, and then in the distance you've also got Helvellyn. As I pick through here, I'm basing this walk from the village of Grasmere, and Grasmere is famous for a few things. One is Wordsworth lived there for the majority of his life before he sort of went over to near Rydal Hall, and there's a few things named after him in there, but he's buried in the churchyard again at Grasmere. And apart from that, the gingerbread shop is there, which is absolutely fantastic. That stuff, I don't know how they make it, but it's not like normal gingerbread. It really is something to behold. So if you're in the area and you're in Grasmere, you probably will be able to smell it because it's got a really enticing smell. So I'll try and get some gingerbread, hopefully, when I get back to the village. And I can take that home to Alison as a little bit of a surprise gift. Look at that rock formation just sticking up there. Absolutely mad. When we get here, there are a few challenges for the top, but the high point is a little towards the end. So pick our way through these, then we'll get towards it. Wow. There's the valley view going down. Oi. So this is our high point. Let's get on it. There we go. So I'm not sure which two of these rocks is highest, but we'll get on them both. Wow. That's the other challenger. And I think this is the highest one out of the two. Yeah, it is. Right, so that's the look around. Absolutely stunning today. You see the cloud formations and the light breaking through to the fells. As we get round to this side, that's our walk forward. As we get towards Grasmere, you can just see Grasmere ahead of us. And then around this side is out towards the other central fells. Wow. With the southern fells in the distance. So absolutely brilliant. So we're going to walk over here now, and this in the distance is also Blea Rigg. So we'll get over there. And now, fair warning, as you're coming down, this is quite steep. So just be careful and take your time. Again, there's no point rushing, because for me today, I've got probably 5k left, which equates to about an hour and a half. And that means I'll have an hour of light left at the end of the day. So no rush. If you're doing this in winter or autumn, you might have a think about gloves, because if you are touching rocks and it's cold, then definitely worth popping some gloves in the bag. Oi. And even if it's not a cold temperature, just protects your hands a bit. Working our way down, just got to this slightly mucky bit. We'll pick our way across this. Whoop, hang on. It is the path, and there are stones in the path, but I'm a little bit... Oh no, there we go. Right, I've gone the wrong way. There's the stones. Lovely stuff, straight through. There's our helicopter again. So it's just up there. It's looks like it's going back to exactly where it came from. So I might just be doing a loop. We're going to head forward. We'll come across this little tarn, and then continue to work our way towards the village. A little bit of wildlife there, taking advantage of the wind. It's a little bit higher than it was forecast to be today. Oh look, there's some clag eventually started to come in across the tops. So the sun has definitely got its hat on today. This is a brilliant autumn day. Absolutely great. Again, a little bit squelchy around this, but there are plenty of rocks to stay on top of it. There you go. My boots are still dry, despite all the suggestion of water. Bit of a down continuing, and we'll work our way just over there. We'll head round. Oh look, you can just see the pub down there. So walking around this rock formation and working our way down. Swinescar Halls is where we change, and we're just heading straight down the hill. That's our little run down. We're working our way into the valley. It's around 350 metres to drop down. Langdale is to the side of me, so it's just on this side, but it's not Wainwright, so I'm not going up it. We've got amazing views heading forward. All the autumn colours are out. So a bit of bronze, a bit of green, and you can see the top's just a little bit clagged in now, but it's not going to bother us because we're heading down. If you enjoyed the video, helps me to click on the like, because that pushes this out to more people so they can get to see it as well. And equally, if you put comments on or subscribe, that also does the same job and pushes the video out. So thanks to everyone that's doing that, because it's about 10% of people that click on the like of my videos on average. So if you're one of those, thank you very much. Much appreciated. And thanks for all the support anyway that people give me, because that helps me to go out and make more of these videos. So work our way down and find the pub. So think about what you want. I'll see you in there. Oh, bit of a sheep bone. Medic. Right, here we go. Look at that. You twisty trees. Now this descent, by the way, is a little bit worth taking some time on. So just be cautious. Path down here, it's a little bit mucky, to be honest, but you're in the last 3k now, so it doesn't really matter that much because we'll soon be back at the start point. So lovely, like skeletal trees as we come down here. Looks very barren. Anyway, the holly tree's ready for Christmas. Look at that. This is all little bits of, I think there's gorse trees by the look of it. Ooh, spiky. So we'll head down and you can see our path as it winds its way towards the village. The trail coming down, it's often shallow rather than steep, and it's quite an interesting walk actually. There's nobody here, there's only me on this route since I came off Blea Rigg, and it's a little bit sort of eerie in the autumn. Get over this. Well, it goes over a few becks. The ground is a little bit wet, so just be prepared for that. Also, I got my dry socks, and they seem to be doing a good job today because I can't really feel any moisture on my feet. To point out, if you're doing this in summer, all this bracken will be green and higher, so you'll be wafting your way through a sea of green. Stunning views out the front there. A little further down, we're on this high level route, just working our way across, but look at that waterfall down there. Absolutely brilliant. So we're just getting our last bit of hike done for the day, and then we're back to the village. I'm in the last sort of few minutes of daylight, so definitely in the golden hour, so if I had a bit more time I would go down there for you. But it does have waterfalls at the start of this walk, it has waterfalls at the end of the walk. It picks up 3 Wainwrights, so it is really good fun. And I'll say you can go up to Sargeant Man, and that's 750, but if it's a lower cloud day, you can actually just skirt around the lower section, which keeps you at around 500 metres, and that'll probably keep you under the cloud base. But as I say, really high cloud today, only just touched the tops up there. What a brilliant view. So a couple of K, then we're back down to the village. It's a steady path for us just working through the last bit, so just really following the wall. That'll take us back to where we started. 2k from the end, you'll hit this signpost, and that is to Grasmere. There we go, and that is where we're going. So this is where we take our turn down the fell, and you can see the farms just there, and that's the pasture land. This is our path. That's a bit watery at the end, but once we're on the road there, that's it. There we go then. We're going towards dry land. There's the gate. So it looks like just through here. Oh, look at that. Been used for a different purpose previously. Get ourselves through. Whip. Close that one. A few sheepies at the side. Hello. Oh. This is us joining our path from earlier in the day. This was the woodland. In fact, that's where we saw the red squirrel this morning. And that's the farm up here. And Sour Milk Ghyll waterfall is down there. We're just taking the off-road route when we get back to the village. You can see Helm Crag behind me there, which is definitely the most popular route in the area.
Oh,